Beasley added, quote, "I'll play for free this year to live life how I've lived it from day one. If I'm forced into retirement, so be it." So I choke. Damn. What's your reaction to Cole Beasley's stance on health and safety protocols?
My reaction is that Cole Beasley is trying to act like a martyr in regards to something that no one is trying to kill him for.
Oh.
Cole Beasley, I have no issue with him. I have no major issue with Cole Beasley not wanting to be vaccinated.
No major.
My issue is with Cole Beasley's logic in regards to not wanting to be vaccinated. If Cole Beasley was like, look, I have spent tons of hours, minutes, months, days even, researching the vaccination, and I don't want it, I'd be like, you know what? Do your thing, big dog. America, freedom of speech, freedom of choice, doesn't mean freedom of consequence, but still have several freedoms. The issue, though, is with Cole Beasley's logic. Cole Beasley's logic is, I don't want to get vaccinated because he said, quote, "I'm not going to take meds for a leg that isn't broken."
Okay.
But based upon that logic, why would you stretch for a hamstring that's not torn? Why would you buckle up for a car that's not crashed? Why would you strengthen a muscle that's not weak? The problem is Cole Beasley's logic contradicts his life.
Yeah.
Athletes, we live lives based upon prehab. An ounce of prevention is better than an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. Athletes, we live lives based upon prehab, not rehab. Because rehab, you wait till you get hurt to fix it. Prehab, you preventatively do something in advance so that you do not get hurt. I think Cole Beasley assumes that so many people are attacking his decision. I am not one of those people. I am trying to make sense of his logic because his logic does not make sense. His logic currently contradicts his life. If Cole Beasley was the type that, like, I'm not going to stretch, I'm not going to hydrate, I'm not going to do anything until my body requires me to do it, I'd be like, oh, bet that. But all athletes, we all take preventative measures. We all overly hydrate because we know we're bound to be dehydrated. We all stretch before a game because we know we are bound to have a tight muscle. In football, let me do you one better. You take a conditioning test before the season starts. And your team dictates your conditioning test because they want to proactively know that you are in shape so that nothing happens during the course of training camp because they did not monitor ahead of time if you were in shape. We all live in sports, at least, proactively. His logic is reactive. That's where I take my issue. That's the only major place I take my issue.
Okay. I'm certain you're curious about where I'm going with this one. Why? Because you just told me during the break you were curious to where I was going with this one. Let me start off by saying two things. One, I'm proud of this man's conviction. I'm going to say that. Two, I'm vaccinated. And I have not a damn problem in the world with someone who chooses with their freedoms and liberties not to get vaccinated. Now, I do have a problem when you don't like the consequences that come from that different world that you're going to live in being unvaccinated. Cole Beasley, oh my God. You said it, martyr. It sounds like he wants to be another martyr who's dying on the molehill. And I say molehill because this is not worth dying for Cole Beasley. And I'm going to prove it by your own words and your own actions. One, he gives us an explicit example of you don't take meds for a leg that's not broken. Correct? You don't take meds for a leg that's not broken. Last time I checked, broken legs aren't contagious. Last time I checked, whatever happened to you and your broken leg is your wobbling problem, not mine. But in this world where we're interdependent, that broken leg all of a sudden can be contagious to me. So since broken legs aren't contagious, don't give me that as an example if you're Cole Beasley. He's doing what they all do. And I don't know what's going on in this world, and everyone is breathing this same air, but they're disruptive without a destination. Let me prove it. His virtual signaling went wrong. He went from talking about how he wants to live with his same values that he has from day one. First of all, ain't nobody knows their value system from day one, so stop lying to me already in your absolutes. But let's go beyond that when you did have conscious thought of your value system, and more importantly, the right and responsibility to choose which values you want to live by. Cole Beasley, you don't want to do the things that come from it. That's fine. But don't you know you play the ultimate team sport? Don't you know that other people's livelihoods are affected and impacted by what you do? So imagine this. Cole Beasley says, I don't want to abide by the protocols because I disagree with them. That's fine. But the disobeying, not disagreement, disobeying is what gets you into harm's way with a collective group. Because you disagreeing, go ahead. You disobeying, we got a problem. Because now you're being disruptive.
Ooh,
and
Stop, Sale, stop. I hate when you do this.
I do it.
I hate when you do this. I hate when you give a bar and you skate past it like you did not just give a bar. Because first off, can you break down, because I'm trying to digest it on the spot on set. Y'all don't realize this. We don't talk before the show about what we're going to say.
No, we don't do
What's the difference between disagreeing and disobeying?
Okay, disagreeing means I don't respect why you even have these protocols in place. Now, let me give you a little more meat on that. I'm gonna be real. Some of the protocols are just stupid worldwide, socially. I go to a restaurant. The waiter is sitting there, may I take your order with the mask on? I say, yeah. And I start talking. He takes the mask down and start talking back. The hell is this? This makes no sense, okay? Well, you have to have your mask on at the Clipper game unless you're eating. Well, I'm always chewing gum. Guess what? It looks like I'm eating. Why are we going with some of these thinly veiled protocols? Disagree with them, I get it. But then you can't take that to disobeying them. When I was at the games, hey man, I gotta respect what these ushers are doing. They're getting paid to enforce something. Cole Beasley, I get what you're saying. There's a distinct line between what vaccinated players can do and unvaccinated players can do. You made your choice, now you gotta deal with the consequences. So that's what the problem. Disagree, one thing. Disobey, two things. But here's the biggest problem. It's going to be disruptive. So now our team may suffer, our league may suffer, 1,900 plus players may suffer because of your disobedience. You are not allowed to do that when you tell me that you got a winning scenario of retiring anyway. You want to be with your family, you want to be with your friends and live these values that you've had since day one, what you're lying about. So if that's a winning scenario, take your winning ass over there and do that. But don't you dare come to me and my family and now try to affect the money we're trying to make by participating, by displaying our talents and labor, because you just not only want to disagree, but disobey. That's my problem.
It's a sports show, so let's put that in sports terms. There's always a time as an athlete when you were part of an aggregate, a larger team, that you got to do something you don't agree with.
Facts.
Coach says over the mic in the middle linebacker's ear, hey, we're going to run Will, me, 6. Okay, Will, if you're the Will linebacker, the weak side linebacker, you hear me, that means you're blitzing. And we're playing cover 6 behind it. Will, me, 6. But, Coach, I don't feel like running into the A-gap between that 315 offensive guard and that 310-pound center. Well, guess what, Acho? For the greater good of the team, you can disagree with the call.
Yeah.
But you can't disobey the call. Because if you disobey the call, number one, there's a consequence that you will get pulled, individual consequence.
Yeah.
Consequence collectively, you as a team, defense, will get beat. And consequence that, yes, you might want to disobey the call, but what's going to happen to those around you who are actually depending on you to obey the call, although you disagree with the call?
Facts.
So I had to put in sports terms what Sel just broke down, because yes, Cole Beasley, you can disagree with the call. We all disagree with a lot of things in this life. But when you disobey the call, then there's a consequence, because there's always a consequence for disobedience. But then there's one other issue I have with Cole Beasley.
Let's go.
And I'll be done. My other issue with Cole Beasley is this. In one of his tweets, he spoke on that, well, X amount of people get COVID, and that's a small percentage, or a small percentage of people die from COVID, he said. He said, I shouldn't be in the NFL after 10 years, so I've already beat the odds. Essentially, he is assuming because he beat the odds by making it to the NFL, well, then he can go and beat the odds again, whatever the odds of COVID are. You cannot bank on you achieving a statistical improbability in one field as a causation to allow you to achieve a completely unrelated statistical improbability in another field. I, too, made it to the NFL as son of Nigerian immigrants. I'm sure there's some odds there that are incredibly unlikely. I would not walk outside during a thunderstorm and hold up a metal pole and say to myself, well, I beat the odds of making it to the NFL,
I'm gonna do it again.
so I'm going to beat these odds as well. That's incredibly illogical. I love that Sel led with, I'm proud of Cole Beasley for standing on his convictions.
I am.
Because in all honesty, I am too. Like, I love when a group of people are going right. You don't always have to go right. When a group of people are going left, you don't always have to go left. Stand on your convictions. Just make sure your convictions stand on common sense.
And it won't stand on common sense because in this world today, it is